So, good day everyone. Welcome. I am Judin May Pipito and I hope you will learn something from me today. So, yeah, can you guess our topic for today? So, based on these icons you've seen in your screens, what do you think would be the answer? For the clue, it's only one word. Well, yeah, that's right. It's flexible. So now, can you fill these missing letters? Very good. It's learning. So now, our topic is all about flexible learning. So flexible learning is a method of learning where students are given freedom in how, what, when, and where they learn. So flexible learning is an in environments address how physical space is used based on how students are grouped during learning and how time is used throughout teaching. So, a useful approach to embedding flexibility is to consider it in relation to how and to what extent it is being integrated and leveraging key dimensions of learning and teaching, and these are as follows. So, number one, learning designs. This is about the design and development of productive learning experiences so that each learner is able to make most of the learning opportunities they afford. So, like they can only access the things or type of learning based on what is convenient for them. Just like, on online learning, modular, and the other. Okay, so for the number two, learner content engagement. This is about learners' engagement and interaction with the subject matter. So for the number two, the student shows the engagement about the topic they are dealing with. Okay, so for the number three, learner-teacher engagement. This is about choices learners have in relation and the mode and method of their teachers and tutors. Like this is also the decisions of the students whether they will follow or adapt the corresponding methods of their instructors. So for the number four, which is the learner engagement, this is about the choices learners have in relation to the mode or method of their engagement and their interaction with their peers or small or large groups, and even offline or online or educational settings. So for the number four, this is the engagement between the learners to their classmates or their friends. It could be online or in actual place or space. The number five, learner engagement with the learning environment. So this is about adaptable access, interaction, and engagement with the learning environment, such as with mobile devices, Wi-Fi access, and innovative use of study space. So it's clear that the students need the place or environment where they can access information and would help them with the type of learning they choose. So for the number six is learner engagement with assessment activities. So this is about choices learners have in relation to the fulfillment or their assessment requirements. So for the number seven, these are the feedbacks or opinions of the learners about their types of learning, whether they agree or disagree, or likes or dislikes it. So for the number eight, which is the last, learner engagement with the institutions. This is about choices learners have in relation to their engagement with the services of educational institution. So I guess that's it. So please lend an ear to my co-reporter, which is Miss Rika Maribao.
What is differentiated instructions? So differentiated instructions is to recognize students' varying background knowledge, readiness, language, preferences in learning interests, and to react responsibly. And also the intent of differentiating instruction is to maximize each student's growth and individual success by meeting each student's where he or she is and assisting in the learning process. So In addition to using the kinds of evidence-based strategies, teachers who differentiated instructions often use a variety of instructional approaches, author assignments to meet the needs of the students, assess students on an ongoing basis to determine their readiness levels, and use assessment results to adjust instruction as needed, provide a variety of options for how students can learn and demonstrate their knowledge, and strive to make lessons engaging and meaningful. And lastly is employ different groupings format for instruction. So for example, so whole class or small groups, independent instructions, and use flexible groupings. So there are four elements to differentiate. So first is content, second is process, third is product, and fourth is a learning environment. So first, what is content? So content is what the students need to learn on how the students will get access to the information. So for example, students can acquire new information and ideas through reading independently or with a partner, reading a novel or listening to it on tape, or doing online research or communicating with experts, or participating in group demonstrations, or engaging in small group instructions. So that is content. Second is process. So process, activities in which the students engage in order to make sense of or master the content. So process, differentiating process is all about practice based on the content. So this involves students trying to figure out things out, or asking questions and making mistakes. So at this stage, according to Carroll and Tomlinson, almost always students will need to work at different speeds with different kind of support in different groupings and in different moods, and that's a very important stage, because this really is the point where learning happens with kids. Okay, so now let's proceed to product. So product, culminating projects that ask the students to rehearse, apply, and extend what he or she has learned in a unit, and product even in multiple choice or true or false tests can be differentiated, says Tomlinson. So I am seeing some district to do an interesting thing, especially where they have a lot of second language learners, so they'll have the regular version of the test, and then one district called the plain English version. So it's exactly the same thing, but they write it in on a more streamlined way, or simpler vocabulary, so more white space, so kids still have to understand and be able to work with the same thing. So they just made the format of it more accessible to them. So now let's proceed to the learning environment. So learning environment. So differentiating students' affect means modifying the learning environment to meet students' emotional needs. So for example, so we differentiate by students' affect when we have kids so who need a little bit more attention to be able to stick with the task, or when we understand that this kid really likes to have someone acknowledge that he's made a great step forward. So whereas this kid is kind of modest and would prefer really that attention not be called to him or her, but rather to the group because it's a cultural thing that the group needs to be acknowledged. So also addressing students' uh, affective need should be taken into consideration when planning such aspects of instructions as respectful tasks and flexible groupings. So explains Tomlinson. So we have some kids who don't work especially well in groups because they have emotional challenges. So and we try to help develop groups and help them develop mechanisms for working in those groups to be successful. So for some students, modification of the learning environment is needed to ensure effective learnings. So according to Tomlinson. So there are some kids who simply cannot sit still for an extended period of time. So we can make it possible for them to move around the room more. Or we have some kids who just really can't work with noise, and so when kids are working in groups, we give them earplugs to work with. And that's all. Thank you.